Oh, cool. Look at all the snow. It's so warm today. I think it's actually already above freezing. And all the snow is going to slide. So I have to go up on this roof every year and shovel to make sure I don't lose my chimney. We have metal roofs here in Wells because in the Caribou Mountains, 4,000 feet above sea level, 53 degrees north, we get some of the largest snow packs on Earth. I'm not kidding. I'll be able to walk up onto my roof. So when I say I've fallen off roofs in town a lot, well, it's because I have a safety ticket for fall arrest, and because I've been in the fire department and been on roofs, it's because I've been shoveling a lot of people's roofs in this town over the years. And sometimes when I'm on that roof, the snow starts to slide and I'm going off no matter what I want. So immediately I'm like thinking ahead when I get there. It's like, well, where do I not want to fall? That's the number one thing. So yeah, tin roofs and wells, slides lots. I fall. I'm okay with it. If there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 feet of snow at the bottom, the consequences of falling aren't that big of a deal. So it's not like I live where you live and I'm falling onto hard ground. So yeah, I live a different kind of life. I mean, even for the vast majority of Canadians, they look at how we live up here in the highlands and they say, wow, you're nuts. Danger is everything. I require special instruction because of the kind of person I am. And I think over the course of these conversations with John, I realized I'm becoming a student, that I'm not just producing video. So I'm going to apologize now for how much I talk. And next conversation we have, next time we Zoom in a week or so, I'll be sure to approach it much more from a student perspective and less so from a producer perspective. All right, here's John Kaufman.
It's got nothing to do with how to move, what method to use to move, what technique to use in my movement. It's got nothing to do with any of that. And if that's what's in my mind, I'm pretty much fucked because I'll be too slow and it won't be effective. I won't end up using my weight effectively because I'm only moving part of myself. And probably what's going to happen is I'm going to actually stop myself from moving because what's in my mind is fear, which is normal. Don't get me wrong. I don't say that I don't feel fear. I do. I'm just saying that to the degree to which what's in my mind is fear, it's going to inhibit my body movement. We've all experienced fear, and we've all experienced that it tends to freeze you up.
Well, that's why I say to people, they ask me about rock climbing and stuff, and I say, if you're afraid of heights, you should be, because you being afraid is going to cause you to fall.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're afraid of heights, well, you should be. You're at risk.
No,
I'm not afraid of heights, so I'm okay up here.
I'm with you, man, 100%. I'm afraid of heights. So when I stand up on a roof on the edge and I look down or out, I feel frozen. I can make myself move, but I have to make myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But someone like you, who's not afraid of heights, it's not any different for you standing on an edge of a roof and standing on the floor.
I try not to let it be. It has to be the same. It has to be.
Okay.
There has to be that emptiness, right?
Okay. Yeah. So
otherwise, you're going to put yourself. And I shovel a lot of roofs off because it's a snowstorm right now going on, right? I shovel a lot of roofs in town, and I've fallen off most of them at one point or other too. But usually there's 6 feet of snow, and it's okay. And I know I'm going to go, so I say, "All right, I'm going." And I choose the manner of which I fall off the roof into the snow rather than just randomly falling off, which is how I get hurt. It has to be blank. If I see an angry bear, it has to be the same. If I'm driving on a slippery road, it has to be the same. It has to be empty.
When you fall off the roof, okay, what did you just say to me? When you fall off the roof, what happened?
Try to choose the manner in which I fall off.
You choose it? You have time to choose it? What did you tell me happens? And you said, I choose how my body's going to respond. There's something to that effect, right?
I choose the manner in which I fall.
None of that, if I'm not mistaken, and I really don't think I am, is in the moment of you falling. You're not choosing how your body responds, are you?
Often I have. I don't want to go head first into the snow. I want to go feet first. So I'm going to do whatever I can before I leave the roof to make sure that's the way I'm leaving.
In reality, when you're falling, you don't have time to figure anything out. Just like when you're in a fight, you don't have any time to decide what to do, how to respond. Okay? So what I want you to tell me is this, because I think this is the truth, and you used falling off the roof as an example. So I'm using it as my example back to you to try to illustrate a point. And the point is that when you fall, your body responds automatically. And your body knows how to respond. Because what's in your mind in your moment is not conscious thought instructing you how to move. But what's really in the mind is whatever's there in reality. And for you, not me, but for you, Joey only, what's actually in the mind is knowledge of how to deal with that situation.
Yeah, don't break my wrists.
Okay. Where I may not have that knowledge in my mind.
Yeah.
So my body may not respond the way yours does automatically. It's got nothing to do with conscious thought, if you want to be honest about it. So don't try to take credit and say, you know how to respond. Yeah, you know how to respond, but not that you, being the conscious thought, Joey only figuring it out, telling yourself what to do. You, the you that knows, is what Chu Shantin would call the back of the brain, or the Nim Tao state, or you might call the unconscious, or whatever term you want to give it. I don't care. It's still you, the real you, not the you that's afraid, not the you that you want to be or think you should be, not the you that's taking pride and bragging about how you know how to deal with the situation, but the real you. And that's all that counts. And the real you is not the real me. The real John Kaufman doesn't know how to fall off a roof. So I'm going to get hurt. But the real Joey knows how to deal with it. It's got nothing to do with conscious effort. If you set your body up so that what's really in the mind is automatically expressed through the body, that's using your body in the moment at its peak performance. Whether it is a martial activity, or whether it's a sports activity, or whether it's a work activity of using a chainsaw or falling off a roof, or whatever it might be. That's your mind-body connection. The hard part is, the challenge for all of us, is that it's so instinctual now in us to interject the conscious mind between what's really in the unconscious mind and the body's state of being an activity. So someone walks up to me on the street and attacks me. There's going to be a lot of conscious mind at use because of my level of fear. So that's going to inhibit the real connection between what is with the unconscious, the back part of the brain, if you will, and the body's performance. And it's going to tend to inhibit my movement accordingly. And that's what Marty Anderson meant when I explained, I think I did last time, correct me if I'm wrong, that when he said Chu Shantin was as good as he was because he had a more direct connection between his mind and his body, between what his body is actually doing. Just like, did I tell you his example about Marty's example about the playing a video game? Did I say that?
Yeah, and I relate to that.
Okay, so that's all I mean by that right now. He had a more immediate connection, according to Marty. Okay, so that he didn't use as much of conscious effort in his Wing Chun practice, effort, movement. It was more immediate movement. Boom, boom, boom. And the body expressed the power of its move, could express his power because it would move naturally. And that's what he meant when he said, Chu Shantin never moves his hand without his center moving first. So now let's get more realistic, more practically oriented in terms of skill level development. I'm standing in front of you and we're touching hands like this. Okay. Now you're going to move. You're going to move so you can move me. Okay. Yeah, exactly. You don't want me to move you. You want to move me. Okay. it's not necessarily that you're going to deliberately try to stop me from moving you, but really what's in your mind is you want to move me. Okay. So now can you imagine that I'm touching your palm and I'm starting to apply pressure and you're going to move me. Okay. Can you, just like I had to yell at you to get you to do before, can you describe for me, please, what is happening in your body when you try to move me?
Well, because there's no actual tension, there's no purpose for me to introduce any actual tension back.
That's why fair enough. That's why I asked you,
Joey,
Joey,
as the hand comes out.
Joey, that's why I asked you to imagine the pressure, didn't I? But you're not actually imagining it, or your body would be responding. So you're trying to figure out how you're supposed to respond because your body's not feeling anything, because you're not activating your imagination. You need to actually activate your imagination. So I need you to actually pretend the pressure is there. And your body will automatically respond. I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm doing it right now. I'm imagining you pressing right here in my palm, and I can feel my back being activated. I can feel my body responding physically somehow or other. Okay? So now describe, please, what you're feeling in your body and where.
Tension up underneath my right shoulder blade.
Okay. Okay.
Chiefly.
Okay.
Some in my back of my elbow.
Okay, fine. Whatever it is. So you can now feel something physically happening in your body, correct?
Pressure here.
You can now, once you activate the imagination and you start to observe what's happening in your body, you can start to physically feel things happening in your body, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I said. Again, I'm not asking you trick questions here. You can feel things, right? Physically in your body is all I'm saying now. Okay. Instead of this current exercise where you're imagining I'm providing you pressure and you're going to move me away, right? And now you're observing what your body's doing in response to those ideas. I want you to use the idea. I'm still pressing you. Okay. But I want you to use the idea of you're going to float your body toward me. And that's how you're going to move me. Just let it, one block of wood, start floating toward me. Is your body feel differently than it did a moment ago in response to that imagination exercise?
Yeah, more whole.
Okay. Very good. I love that answer. I love that answer because that's the answer I wanted. Yeah. I'm sorry.
In the stillness of my hand, even for the most part, when I get to that space, the hand becomes much more still.
Okay, wonderful.
It doesn't vibrate. It doesn't shake a little.
Okay.
When I access that, it just stays.
Okay. That's what I want. Okay. So I think it's fair to say, isn't it, that you just answered me without me putting those words in your mouth?
Yep.
Okay. So what you just described is 100% accurate to what we want. Okay. To what you experience if you're moving in the Chushantin way. So you're not going to feel part of yourself that's being activated and used, whether it's the shoulder or areas of the back or the hand or whatever, elbow or foot on the ground or any other part, because you're not using only part instead of the whole. Because you're using the whole, there's nothing to feel. Okay? And the whole of it is moving without breaking down, which is what Marty means when he says, when the center moves, everything moves and nothing is left behind. You understand that nothing is left behind part now, don't you?
I did.
So when you move as a whole, as you described it accurately, and that's why you don't feel your hand, because everything is moving as a whole. Nothing is left behind, right? And if I was actually standing in front of you, applying pressure to your palm in reality, and you could have your body be in a condition that was whole, and then have the idea of movement and maintain that wholeness in movement, in motion, you would move me right back and I wouldn't feel anything, except that I don't know how to stop you unless I'm using my body the same way you are, which most people don't know how to do.
Well, I became sort of emotional even during our last discussion, because these are things I've been doing and not necessarily understanding.
Okay.
Right. And things
Right.
that I've been better at than other people, and
Okay.
had the mindset of, this is me empty. And
Okay.
when I'm sparring with someone, walk through them without
Okay.
thought. I've been able to do these things and then
Okay.
summon this energy at times and then be like, I don't really know what I just did, until we started putting it together last episode. Like, I know what, maybe I do know what I'm doing. And maybe it's, and like the first time I told you, like, I go into that animal mind of emptiness, that
Okay.
someone didn't look at me and think like, okay,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, that's
I
great.
just don't talk about that, because unless it's to like the native guys in my fire crew or something, like, they're warriors, they understand.
Well, then I think all of that is fantastic. And I would say, maybe you don't need me to even say this, but let that be your teaching guide going forward. Let that be your priority. Those states of mind, that way of using your body that way, that is more important than even your conceptual understanding of it, which might be fun and interesting. I mean, after all, we're having a conversation about this stuff, but that's not as important in my view as your own ability to actually do it and to get better at it. Okay. And so, yeah, someone, whether it's me or anyone else, could ask you, oh, okay, get better at what? What exactly are you getting better at? What are you doing? Okay. And then you're using your conceptualization and idea, if you will, to describe it and to teach it and communicate it both to yourself and to others. And that's fine, be that as it may. That although, yes, you can indulge in the conceptualization and the description of using language of what's happening, and all that's very well and good, and we all indulge in that for various purposes. Okay. But that is not very important compared to your skill of doing it. Okay. In my opinion, for myself and for you or for anyone else. And so I think it's more important for people like you or I or anyone else to make as a priority the practice of that transcendent state of mind, and the effect it has on the body and use of the body itself. That's way more important than practicing describing it, understanding it, and taking credit for being able to explain it to ourselves and other people. Okay. The Tao Te Ching, one of the first things that's written in the Tao Te Ching, that book, is this, meaning this book itself, these writings, is not the Tao. Okay. Take this book and burn it. Okay. So you and I talking about it, whether it's to each other right now, which we have been doing for hours, or it's you to your friends or your students, or me to my students, or people who write books or videos about it, is that's not it. The only it is it. The only transcendence is transcendence. If I'm stuck in the it, if I'm stuck in the words, the conceptualizations, the how-to, the knowing, I'm never going to be doing it. I have to let it happen. If when you're falling off the roof, you're stuck in, what am I supposed to do with my left hand? You're going to hurt yourself when you land. But if you right,
tuck and curl and try to go in the snow the right way. Yep. But that's why I don't like to go in the roof when there's no snow. That's a much different experience.
And Dougie,
Morning.
having a good Sunday?
Oh yeah, nothing better to do.